Hi, welcome back to our talk on manners. This is John Patrick Hickey, and in our last video we talked about manners in the workplace and how we can help make the workplace a better place to be and a place where we can all work together. I want to talk about, as I ended the video last time I mentioned, a place where you would think manners would just abound, that we would be the nicest that we could possibly be, and that is in the church. Where else would you be a place where everyone is loving and kind and encouraging to one another? That this would be the place where we can be join together and really see the goodness, the kindness of each other poured out all around us. Well, that isn't reality. Reality is the church fights a battle with rudeness and incivility like every place else. And it is a struggle at times. I pastored a church, so take it from me, it can be difficult. People have a tendency to think the church as something that they own. It's something that they feel they have the freedom to do what they feel like when they feel like it. And that's not the way the church operates. We are, in a sense, a guest. We're a guest in God's house. Yes, God doesn't, in a sense, dwell there. He dwells within his people. But we are there in order to worship together, to learn together, to grow together. But we're there together. We're not there individually. I have seen people display great rudeness in church, complaining and demanding it's too hot, it's too cold, the volume's too high, the volume's too low, not liking certain people who are coming to church. I always remember a story, this is many years back in the 60s, Chuck Smith in Southern California, who had Calvary Chapel. When Chuck first started reaching out to the hippie population in Southern California, wanting them to come into church, this was the beginning of what was considered the Jesus movement back in the 60s. And they brought hippies in for a worship service. And people were somewhat appalled that he would allow these people in. They were dirty, barefoot. And one of the big complaints was they were going to mess up the new carpeting by walking around and, getting the carpeting dirty. So everyone went home. They came the next Sunday. And everybody was going to have, their complaint because here comes the hippies again on Sunday. But they all came to church to something very different. Chuck had all the carpeting removed because he wasn't going to have carpeting stand in the way of people being reached for Christ just because they didn't want to mess up the carpeting. See, this is where we have to think. I've heard people complain about other people. I remember one church where they had a great outreach to the homeless population, and they were proud of their outreach, as long as it was an outreach. They weren't proud of it. They weren't happy with it when the outreach came to inreach, where people actually came to church who were dirty and smelly, and they carried in bags and bags of stuff and sat in pews that were new and clean, and people had a hard time with that. We have to understand that all of these trappings around us don't matter. What matters is people. We got to care and love people, not things. If the edifice that you're in, if the building that you are ministering in and around matters more to you than the people who come to it, then it's time that you either move out or you burn it down or tear it down or whatever. Take out your carpeting, take out your pews, whatever it is you need to do. But you make those changes because people are more important. That's good manners. Also, one of the things, and I want to end with this, is that gossip should never go on in the church, and I see it all the time. Little clusters of people who get together and talk about other people and other things and complaining about the message and the length of service or whatever. You got your little clutches of people who are going to go and do all of whatever it is that they're going to talk about. This should never be. Not in the church. This should never happen. It shouldn't happen outside the church either. But remember that we should, in fact, be on our best behavior, our greatest display of manners within the house of God, with the people of God, because that is a place that we need to allow Christ to truly manifest himself in our life. Next, I want to talk about, and I'm not going to tell you where it is, but I'll tell you that it's a place where the least amount of manners is ever shown. Until then, for the Growth Center, this is John Patrick Hickey, and I do want to encourage you to always live your purpose and change your world.